Nobriden is apparently good day in Ukrainian, but we have translations to translate that to English, and Maksym is going to tell us all about it in this episode of the Xamarin Show, so tune in. Welcome back, everybody, to the Xamarin Show. My name is Gerald. I'm your host for today, and I have a very special guest on today. It's Maksym, and he is going to tell us all about how to localize our apps because he has contributed something awesome to the Xamarin Community Toolkit that has everything to do with translations. Hello, Maksym. How are you doing?
Yeah, hi, Gerald. Thanks for having me here. I'm doing great. Thank you.
Of course. That's a great. I think you're from the Ukraine, isn't that right?
Yeah, that's absolutely right. I'm software engineer from Ukraine, and I just love all things C#. So some time ago, I needed to create a mobile app. So what is the best technology to do it other than Xamarin?
Yes, absolutely. And I find it just great that you have created this mobile app for yourself. You came across the toolkit and you started solving problems in your own app and thought like, hey, I can contribute this back to the toolkit, and then maybe other people can benefit from that as well. So that is really
Yeah.
cool. Thank you for that. So I think we can just dive straight into some code, see maybe what the problem is that we are trying to solve with this translation thing.
Okay. Here we have a demo that you can find also in the repository that will be somewhere here. Here's how traditional localization work. So you have some app resources here. To add some new, you just like press add, new item, and a resource. And when you add first one, also this designer is generated. When you add the next ones, you just add the language name, and that's pretty much it. And then you specify keys and values in each of them. And here's this great tool that I have here that will show us, all the things that we have in the app, like combined from all the resource files. So right now, I have the default language that is English and custom Ukrainian language. And we have keys for all of the strings. So when I want to retrieve a string from the resource file, I simply need to go in my app and type name of the resource file, so app resources, and name of the string, like this or this. And if I want to do it in the view, I can do pretty much the same thing, but it looks like this. So Resex, that is this extend namespace, app resources, and name of the string. And here's up. This app is pretty simple. It just displays some text, app version, and allows you to change the language. But when I change language now, nothing happens, except you can see that this string changes, but nothing else changes. That's because all of those strings are static. So once view is displayed, those strings are retrieved with the culture that was set at that time, and then that pretty much it. View doesn't know that they changed and doesn't refresh anything.
So just to interrupt you real quickly,
Yep.
the thing that you've just shown, this is like how we used to do translations, right? How it is today, and this is not even specific to Xamarin. This is how you do the translations in
This
.NET
pretty much,
applications.
that's
Okay,
general stuff.
and the tool that you've just shown, I think it's called Resex Manager or something. That is unfortunately something that is not in Visual Studio directly. That is a separate extension. I think it's for free, but it's.
Yeah.
I love to work on VS Mac, on Visual Studio for Mac. Unfortunately, there isn't something like that, but this works on Visual Studio for Windows, and that makes it really easy to manage your Resex files, which is just basically an XML file where you specify all the things. Those get mapped to like C# objects that you can use in your code, and that's the thing that you were showing. Do I see that correctly? Right? Yeah, that's what I know. So now let's see what you implemented to make this better.
Yeah, something about the tool. So if you don't have this tool, you can just double click on the resource file, and all of the keys and values are here, but they're in different files, so it's slightly more work to modify them. Okay, So that is the problem. If we want to change the language at runtime, that's not that easy to do. If we want to do it ourselves, what we can do, for example, here how we can specify the version strings, like while here is two of them, right? So you can do this in the view too, something like that. So just to show you, the version strings looks like this, with substrings in it. And you can specify it right here in the view. But this is also static, so it won't change. Also, you can create a property in your view model and provide it here. So it will look something like this. But as you can see, it will also be generated one time and never change. So if you want to do it manually, what you can do is like I have code here. Yep. So here's what you can do. You can get it like a full, create a full property with getter and setter, and set a default value that will be with the culture at the start time. And then when you change language here, you can set the new value for the string. Like this will return value in the new culture, and this is how you generally can do runtime language change out of the box.
Okay, but this basically just uses like the data binding, right? So this way you're just kind of faking the live updating by using data binding to actually show the new values, right?
Well, yeah, I'm not faking it. I'm just telling
Wow.
page that something have changed.
Sure.
What I'm going to show you does exactly the same thing, but you don't need to write any code to do it.
Right.
So yeah, the problem is that we need to regenerate the string. So here, and tell the page that the string is changed. So here, this set property. By the way, to do the set property, I'm using observable object from Xamarin Community Toolkit. Okay, so if we change language right now, you can see that this version string is also changed. Cool. Okay, so let's now go to Xamarin Community Toolkit goodness. So what do you need to know about localization in there is you have three new classes: a localization resource manager, a translate extension, and localize string. Main class is localization resource manager. It serves basically one purpose: to tell everything that is subscribed to it that current culture is changed. So first thing you want to do is go to the app file or somewhere where your app starts and initialize it. So localization resource manager. Here it is. Current and init. Okay, so after we initialized our localization resource manager, we need to switch how we set the culture. So here we have our change language function. It is not really complex. All it does is displays the list of languages, and if user selects some of them, we change our culture in app resources. So now we don't need to change language in our app resources. We need to change it in the localization resource manager. So yep, current culture. Yep. And now when we change culture here, it will trigger a property change event inside this localization resource manager, and everything will update. So what is listening to this event? First things first, strings that we use, that we specify in the view directly, like this. All we need to do to change them at runtime is to add Xamarin Community Toolkit namespace, as always, and then do this. So xd translate. So this is a translate exception that I was talking about. It retrieves the string from the resource manager that is specified here and displays it on the UI. And that's pretty much it. what you need to do to localize your strings in the view. So let me change other ones. This one, and yeah, upstarts. Okay, and we don't need that version for now. Okay.
So while we're waiting for this, you basically just say now, instead of just switching language through like the app resources like you normally would, or set the current culture, you just go through that localization manager and you set all the things there that you actually want to set the language to, and it will take care of the rest together with the translation extension. This is all things that are in the Xamarin Community Toolkit, which makes this translation stuff so much easier.
Yes. So previously, the culture was stored in the app resources itself, and when we set it, it didn't do anything. It didn't notify about that it's changed. But now we changed it in the localization resource manager, and it notifies translate extension, and translate extension re-renders itself. So you can see that this string is changed, for example. Yep, others didn't, I think, because I did it too late. So now we need to worry about other things. We have strings that we are generating inside the code. So they are not static. We can just say view display this, and that's it. For example, this version 1. We need to do string format, and only then it can be displayed on the view. So what we need to do for them. There's a third class called localize string, and its purpose is to localize strings that you generate in your view models. So what you need to do to migrate to use it is to change type of your strings to localized string, and then we don't need all of this. We don't need all of this. And we don't need this. All we need to do to initialize it is to provide a function that can generate the string. It will rerun that function when culture is changed and display the new version. So something like this. Here I'm using the C#9 new, so it's easier to read. Okay, and now what we need to display on the view is version dot localized. Sorry. Dot localized. Okay, and this should work. So to recap, what we need to do. If we are specifying strings in the view itself, we need to change our views to use translate extension, and then just specify the name of the string. If we want to migrate strings that we generate in our view models, we need to change their type to localize string, and then just use those with that localized added. Oh, and one more thing. Right now, something wouldn't work. So if I change it, you see that the string changed, button changed, but version didn't. So all of the translate extension related stuff worked, but localized string didn't. Why is it? That's because we changed our culture in localization resource manager, but we didn't change it inside app resources. So when localized string regenerated this function, this version was the same because app resources didn't change. What you can do to resolve this is to subscribe to property change event here. So current culture, property changed, and you can just set culture in app resources to match localization resource manager one. culture equals Research Manager current culture. Yep. So now every time culture inside localization resource manager will change, this change will reflect on app resources, and everything that uses app resources to get the localized string also will get the strings with a new culture. Okay, that's pretty much it, I think. Now everything should work.
Okay, so with that change, we're also going to see the version string changing. So then we're almost there, or is there one more thing that we need to translate?
Yeah, in terms of Xamarin Community Toolkit, we are done. So everything here is changing now. So you can see like our view strings are changing, button changed, and the version changed. So when I change the language to English, we got string formatted string with in English language, and here we got it in Ukrainian. One teeny tiny thing that's left is to change all of those to also be localizable. But that has nothing to do with Xamarin Community Toolkit, just a little bit change to the demo itself. So to do this, we just need to convert them into functions as well, because right now they are generated only once when app starts and culture doesn't change afterwards. So let's do functions. So every time we retrieve value of this language mapping, function will rerun and we'll get a new value. And as I said, this has nothing to do with Xamarin Community Toolkit, just like as an example, how you can do some custom runtime localization in your app.
Right. Because now we have the full solution. We have translated everything, a lot of it with the help of the Xamarin Community Toolkit. But we want to do it all, but it's not always needed, right? There's a lot of stuff in .NET as well. So let's have a quick look at that being translated as well, just to prove that we are all complete here.
Yep. Okay, so app is starting now. Okay, so we are good, and let's see. Here we're in English, and when I change to Ukrainian, yep, everything is localized. So this app is fully localized in the runtime. So when I change the language, like all of the app is changed, and no need to refresh it, to like restart or anything like that.
That's amazing. That's really cool. So Maksym, thank you for being my guest on this show and showing us all this goodness on how to localize your app, and of course contributing all of that goodness back to the Xamarin Community Toolkit. The docs are not really complete yet, but you can find some of this at least in the docs, so go check that out, or contribute the bits that are missing, because you now know how it works. Thank you for watching another Xamarin show of the Xamarin Community Toolkit. Of course, if you want to follow our next show, subscribe to our channel, ding that notification bell to be notified automatically, like this video, do all the things, and I'll be seeing you for the next episode.